Hello, my most amazing art students. Today, we're going to talk about drawing a simplified Gothic cathedral. Okay, next week we're going to color our rose window, but this week, and add highlights and shadows. But this week we're going to just do a basic shape, keeping in mind geometric shapes, and using the pictures I posted in last week's lesson. I'll actually repost it this week of all the different cathedrals so that you have a reference photo to draw from. Okay, so you're going to need a Sharpie and a piece of paper, and you're going to need different various things that have circular, I used the lid at one point for that, different things that have different size circles, okay, to start to do your drawing. So the very first thing that I did was, let me get this, use a lid to draw that circle, kind of, not like this is, let's see where the middle of my paper is, like right there, so a little bit above the middle of your paper. I just kind of put it down thinking about, okay, where do I want my rose window to be? Now, if I were to use this is a little large for my window, but it would still work. This would be good size. Even this, even though it's really small, would be okay. A roll of tape, you name it. Okay, so I'm going to trace around this circle, and we're going to make concentric circles, which means circles within circles for this. I want to say the next one I used was probably not this one, but that's okay. We're just I'm gonna line it up so that it's centered. There we go. And then last but not least, I'll go ahead and use this guy for, you know what, I think I might use this smaller one inside here for my last circle, because I want a kind of a bigger for my petals. Okay, so there are my circles. And now, using the photos of the different cathedrals that I posted on the lesson, you can just create whatever type of building or whatever style of Gothic building that you'd like. I did want to do Notre Dame similar, because I like the two bell towers that they have, but there are two different sides to Notre Dame, and you can't see those two big towers from the other side. But the one of the other important aspects of Gothic architecture are the pointed arches that you see. But it does have this really large. I'm going to change up the one I just showed you and kind of do more of a triple entryway. It has a large one and then two smaller entries on that facade of Notre Dame. And I'm freehanding all of this, totally fine to do that. And then it has these littler guys over here. Now, inside of these are pointed arches. So there's kind of a curve that you see like this that goes to the side. It's very Islamic in style. And they borrow a lot from each other. So I'm going to create another bigger one, because there's multiple. That's the thing about Gothic architecture, is it is so decorative and over the top. And it was very gaudy to people, so that's why it got that derogatory name from the Goths, you know. They're like, this is gross. too much going on here. And now we just see like, oh my goodness, look at all the detail that they've added. Look at this amazing works of art. So you can watch me do mine. You can get ideas of how you're going to do yours. The biggest thing that I would say about this is that you want to simplify. So you're going to be creating your design, but you're going to be doing something that's much simpler than what the actual architecture looks like in real life, you know. So I'm actually going to create one more. Just really go for it here. Okay, so and then one more for each of these. Side wings. I would love to go visit Notre Dame someday. I know with last year's fire, people might not be able to get into it. So in this center, above the Notre Dame doors is another smaller rose window, and I just freehanded that circle. It's okay if it's not perfect. So, and then I just did the same thing for the interior ones. And then I created doors just by doing that. Okay, so there's that. And then from here, I created pie pieces, I guess you would say. And I did them opposite of one another so that it would be easy to make them pretty equal by just doing V shapes. And then from there, I created this petal shape, looping them together. And you can create yours however you want. It's good to use geometric or geometry, you know, dividing things into sections in order. And then I took the middle of each petal and drew a line out from there. There we go. It would look better if this lined up, but it doesn't, so that's totally fine. Now, for these two towers on the side, one thing that I did is I went from here up and then created a pointed arch. They don't actually curve in like that. I tend to do that because of the Islamic style of architecture and what I'm used to drawing. Okay, so I did that first, and then interestingly enough, it's weird because on my other one, my petals are straight up and down. That's okay. Came around here, right up against the edge of this window here, and just went like that. And I go all the way across here. On this one, I didn't. On the other one, that's okay. And then I'm going to put another circle right here. Down, down, horizontal, 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 down, down. Just to give that little window pane there. So now we have these two towers. I'm going to come up from the side here. And then I'm going to go actually shorter than that because what I want to do on this one is come above. Let's see where the middle of this guy is. I'm going to make this one closer to the real thing. Go across that, and go over here, and let's see where this comes down at. Okay, so everyone is going to look different. Even my two that I'm making look a bit different. It's totally fine. It's supposed to be symmetrical. That is one thing. Let me see, middle here, all the way down. So as symmetrical as you can make it with freehanding, because you can use a ruler if you guys want to. I just thought for this project, we're really going to focus on the rose window in the next one. So I'm going to freehand. They have these things called quatrefoils a lot, and they're like 4 circles, but the middles aren't there. That's okay. I'm just going to draw the 4 circles, and it's okay if they overlap or aren't perfect. And the middles are going to be in mine, even though in Gothic architecture they're not. And then within this window, there's 2 other pointed arch windows. I'm just going to put the top, and these are going to be very tall and slender, you know, because we have our flying buttresses that can hold up these super tall windows, right, and cut out so much stone out of the structure of the building because it's holding up all that force. You know, you could try something. You can stand across from a parent or a sibling and push your hands together, like create an archway, like someone could go under it with your hands and push on each other, lean away from one another. And then if you have someone else, they can put their back against your back and push you up, and see how much stronger your side is and how much more force you exert on the person that's holding their hands. So there, yeah, that's pretty detailed there. I did add, I think, some extra lines in here, and oh yes, I added a few little details in here just to give it something else. There we go. So I think that looks pretty good. Really simple design, and that's all we're going to do for today. Next week when you join me, I'll be showing you how to color the rose window and add shade and highlighting to your design. So there are my 2 buildings. You guys go ahead and see, I've already started adding a little bit of shade. You can tell how it makes certain things pop out. So have a great day. Thanks for joining me.